Oh, well, that was good. That was really good. Hi, it's Todd from Todd's Workshop and Todd Cutler here. And today I have decided I'm going to find out how ancient fire arrows worked. You see them in Hollywood films all the time. Now, I've done some films about later ones from about 1400 onwards, but look at how effective these fire arrows really were. It was the introduction of the oxidizer that allowed them to even burn underwater, incredibly difficult to extinguish. How cool is that? But they could do this because they used what was then a modern oxidizer, saltpeter, potassium nitrate. But what were people up to before that? So I've thought about what they would have had in the ancient world that would have been relatively accessible to them, and this is what we end up with. I'm going to start with the easy one, the obvious one. I'm going to wrap some cloth around this, and I'm going to try turpentine, because that was the one that really wanted to stay alight. We're going to dip it, shoot it, see what it does. So I'm just going to wire that into place, dip it in the terps, and time to shoot it. So we've got turpentine on a cloth. Well, that certainly lights easy. So putting an inflammable liquid on a pad, a cloth, a wick, is the obvious thing to do, but it's not burning the fabric. It's heating up and it's burning the vapor of the fuel. So it's not actually burning the fabric itself, it's burning sort of gas cloud around the fabric. So it puts the ember out. And what happens when you shoot it is you've got a big burn. Brilliant. But as soon as it starts rushing through the air, that flame front, the bit that's burning on the surface, is pushed further and further back by the airflow until it reaches here and there's no more fuel to light. Let's try some ethanol. Lighting up. Yeah. Nearly invisible flame. Well, it bounced out, and again, it went out. I can conclude that liquid fuels on their own certainly don't work. So now I've got some pitch. So let's get that burning as best we can. Okay, I don't think there's any point in shooting that. Oh, tiny, oh, look. Tiny, well, let's shoot the thing anyway. It's going to make a nice big splat at the other end, see what it does. Right, as predicted, nothing at all. Yeah. And wait for that to cool before I take that. So what I'm thinking there is if we combine wet materials and dry materials, a bit of charcoal and a bit of spirits as well. Try and get some heat in the charcoal. Hopefully that will then lift the spirits up when it lands at the other end. Oh, well, that was good. That was really good. Well, I was not expecting that actually. That is so exciting. In the history of fire arrows, me and no oxidizers, that is the first time ever. Here we go. Reliability issues. Let's try one more. And out again. My initial excitement, of which I was very excited, has gone. Let's try our next set. Charcoal and iron filings. Out again. So I'm going to change direction slightly, and I'm going to look at sulfur. If I try and light the plain end of this bit of wood, it's not enough heat energy. It's not doing anything. But the other end has got a little bit of sulfur on it. And I have the tiniest little flame, and you can transfer it to something bigger. It lights very easy. And we can use that, I think. So I'm going for a dry mix again, and I've got some charcoal here, which I have dusted in honey and sulfur. The honey is there just as a binder. So you can immediately see the sulfur go. It's got a very particular look and smell. It's not doing anything obvious, but don't forget, the sulfur burns with almost an invisible flame. Nothing. Well, that was another failure, rather obviously. I think what's going on is that the charcoal grains are burning on the surface there, but not deep inside. So when it smacks the board, they just get rammed into the board, and that's no good for keeping a burn. You want it like a body of ember. It's got a big wodge of cotton fibre here. Now I'd like a little bit of airflow through this to try and maintain that smoulder. You have a fairly sustained and hot ember. Right, let's see what that does. I can see it's still smoking. Yes. So what we've got now, it's pretty easy to see, is an ember. And if that ember is there, there's going to be enough to light sulfur. I've got the health and safety gear on now because sulfur is pretty noxious stuff. So what we've got now is a bit of bandage with some sulfur on it. So here's our theory. Should look something like that. Ooh, there's a little tiny bit of smouldering. So looking back at the slow-mo, something really interesting happened. I shot it. This, of course, has mass, not particularly well attached to the shaft. It slid back. It did that. It landed on impact. It rammed forward, and it just stuffed the whole thing against the board. Let's stop it slamming into the board. Now I see smoke. There's no real evidence of the sulfur starting to light yet. That's been smouldering now for, I don't know, 6 or 7 minutes. And it's not gone out, but it's not gone up. And so we're going to change the format, the layout slightly, and we're going to try again. I've done this. The idea of this little crossbar is it's going to stop our charge either sliding forward or sliding back. Got some hot coals in my brazier here. I'm going to stuff one deep inside. Let's see what it does. Oh, I can't see any smoke. Let's go have a look. Okay, there's a little wisp. What I do know, you can see from this here, the whole thing slid forward. I've got to stop that. Ah, still got smoke. Let's go and have a look. Okay, well, the good news, the charge has not rammed forward and slammed against the wood. 8 minutes in, still smouldering, not burning. Oh, goodness, of course, then it goes. I am close. Slightly less waxy cotton. Flame, 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 flame. Okay, you can see the sulfur burning, it's sort of bubbling. The burn is now coming to the back where the waxy cotton is. I've done it once. So I'm not going to be happy until I've done it reasonably consistency. So I'm going to go for another couple of goes. It should start to burn the wax on the string, and then hopefully it will go back and keep burning until it hits the chunk of wax and fibre at the back. 2 out of 2. Light the fella up. The smouldering's good, but now, as we know, we have to wait. And we have flame. We have flame. That took about 10 minutes from shooting to actually being in fire. From the dramatic Hollywood point of view, total rubbish. But interestingly, from a strategic point of view, that's probably really good. If you see fire arrows coming in and they land, if they're burning like the modern ones, the post-1400 ones, you can see exactly where they are, clouds of smoke, big fire and all that. These ones, they go, you rush into the building, where are they gone? Nothing in here. 10 minutes later, that happens. That is really interesting. I think it's time to conclude, because I'm going to call that a success. Fire arrows of the ancients. I am not saying that this is how they did it, but I am saying that they could have done. Does it work? Yes, absolutely it works. Straightforward? Yes. Got to be patient? Yes. Have I solved the mystery? No, I can't promise you that, but I can promise you that they could have done it like this. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this film. And if you have, then don't forget we've got the Todd Cutler channel as well, which is sort of more niche content films, also history related. And then we've got our websites, 2 of them, absolutely chock full of stuff that if you like this, you are going to be really interested in that. And then the last thing to say, of course, is the Patreon page. If you want to support us that way, it's really helpful too. See ya.